mistakes that cause 99% of people to fail with social media is one, just having a passive experience with social media, meaning they're just consuming content. You're just endlessly scrolling and not really kind of understanding like what's going on, and they don't even know what a format is.
We are here today in studio with none other than my good friend, viral scientist. The ultimate viral scientist is what I like to call him. He may not go by that himself, but that's what I call him. He's been on my channel multiple times. He always brings insights that are absolutely mind-blowing and remarkable. And if you're serious, not just curious about taking your content to another level and having more of your content go viral, you're in the right place at the right time. Help me welcome to the stage none other than three-time best-selling author, Brendan Kane. Brendan.
Thank you.
For those of you who've never seen Brendan before, he is the international best-selling author of the book 1 Million Followers, the book Hook Point, and the book The Guide to Going Viral, all of which I've read, all of which are phenomenal and can impact your bottom line, your business, and your personal brand. Brendan, glad to have you here today, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So we're going to talk about how to make videos go viral. You probably know a thing or two about that.
I spent the better part of 2 decades studying it. So
that's okay. Just that statement alone is worth the price of admission. You spent the better part of 2 decades studying how to make content go viral. Can you tell us the genesis? How did you get started being that guy who got 1 million followers in 30 days on Facebook, and that guy who created the concept of Hook Point, and that guy who wrote the Guide to Going Viral? How did you become the go-to de facto #1 expert in the world on how to make videos go viral?
So I think it goes way back to when I was a child, because I think at a very early age, I was motivated and fascinated by how do you actually stand out? How do you grab attention? So as a young kid at like 6 or 7, I would take my toys and go knock on neighbors' doors to try and sell my toys to make money. Now, at 6 or 7, you don't really know stuff, that people ignore you and things of that nature. And then, as you get older, especially in high school, like bullying is a real thing. So I would get bullied as a kid, and then I would figure out, well, how do I actually become friends with the bullies or the most popular people or even the scariest people at a school, so that you don't get bullied anymore? And there's this like experimentation of like, how do you actually grab their attention? And my whole second book, Hook Point's about that. And I didn't realize it at the time, but in high school, I was like testing these hooks. I was like, what do I have to say? What do I have to do? What do I have to offer? How do I position things? And then I, as a young kid, just fell in love with movies. Like, that question you ask young kids, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, my answer would change every time I watched a movie. So if I watched a movie about a firefighter, I want to be a firefighter. If it was about a detective, I want to be a detective. So by the time I grew older, I was like, I want to actually make movies. I'm super passionate about it. So I went to film school and studied movies. But then when you show up in Los Angeles, like everybody, you start at the bottom. You make copies, deliveries, and things of that nature. And when you're at that level, you obviously want to connect with studio executives, producers, directors, and actors. And when they ask you, well, why did you come to LA? And I would tell them, oh, I want to produce movies. You could see everybody's eyes glaze over. It's not as bad as being an actor, but it's still like you're one of a million. So I had to take that step back. And this was around 2005, and see like, well, how can I stand out?
How old were you then?
Like 21.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was, so I was working in a studio, and I had to take a step back because I had to figure out, well, what was my hook? Like, how can I actually stand out at the highest level? And I noticed every time we finished a film, there would be a sense of anxiety that would come over the studio. Why? Because we invested tens of millions of dollars into a single piece of content, one piece of content. Can you imagine what it is to invest that much into one?
That's
and then you're committing tens of millions of dollars more to market this content.
Wow.
But it's different than any other industry or sector out there. You don't have years or decades to build a brand. You literally have